Hello everybody, welcome back to another Strengths Materials video. This one's going to be super easy and super useful because this is pretty much the bread and butter of the Flexure formula and why it's so useful to engineers. These types of problems are going to be seen in all types of structural engineering problems where you have a simple member and you're determining if the max stress developed is going to be greater than or less than the allowable max stress. And the problem that we have today is super simple, and it's going to go as follows. We have a shaft that's supported by smooth gyro bearings at A and B. So there's just going to be vertical reactions here and here. And we have a shaft that's circular, and it has a diameter of 90 mil. And it wants us to determine the absolute max bending stress in the beam. And it wants us to sketch the cross section and show its stress distribution. I already have the sketch up top here for a circular member, and this is going to be very similar to what we're going to be dealing with, but we're going to see that once we start solving this problem. For any of these types of problems, we always want to start with the reactions. And we know that since we have a support here, give me a straight line, there we go. We have a support here, and we have a support here, meaning that we're going to have two reactions, A, Y, and BY. Now, solving for those reactions, you first need to determine what the resultant reactions are for these uniform distributions. We know that for a rectangular distribution, we're going to have one reaction here. So we'll call that FR1 for section 1. And for the triangular distribution, we're going to have one right about here, which is FR2 for section 2. And that's going to be, a third from support B, if you want to think about it like that. And we can start by solving for FR1, which is simply taking that max of the distribution, which is 12, and multiplying it times the length. So we have 12 kilonewtons per meter for a 3-meter span, giving us a simple 36 kilonewtons. That's going to be acting right here, halfway from the support A, meaning that we are going to be acting at 1.5 meters from A. Then similarly, we do the same for the second resultant force for the triangular distribution. The only difference here is now we have to take the half for that 12 kilonewton per meter, and then take the length it's distributed over once again, which is 1.5 meters. And solving for that, we're going to be left with 9 kilonewtons. And writing its position with respect to A, we're going to be 3.5 meters from it, because we have the plus 3 and then a third of 1.5, which is 0.5. Okay. Our next step, obviously, is going to be solving for that moment. So why are we doing that? We need to figure out what these two reactions are. And the easy way to eliminate a reaction is by taking the moment about one of the unknowns. So I'm going to take moment about A and set it to 0. Now we start solving for that. We're going to have this first 36. And if we remember a convention, we have negative is acting in the clockwise direction. So about A, that is going to be a negative 36 kilonewtons. And then that distance away is going to be half of 3 meters or 1.5 meters. Or you can simply just plug in that number that we solved for previously. Now we have the By to account for. That's going to be positive, acting in the counterclockwise direction at 3 meters. And we have the triangular distribution, which we already solved for. We know that's going to be negative, and that is 3.5 meters away. Solving for the reaction at B, we are simply left with 28.5 kilonewtons. And we do the same thing, except now we only have one unknown y, so we can solve for the summation of forces at y and start plugging in what we have. So we don't have ay yet. I'm going to assume that's positive. We have the FR1, which is acting downwards, so negative 36 kilonewtons. We have By, which is solved for as positive 28.5 based on the way we've drawn it. And we also have the negative 9 kilonewtons for the triangular distribution. Solving for Ay, we are simply left with 16.5 kilonewtons. Now we do the fun part where we start plugging in these numbers onto our shear force diagram. We know that every time we have a reaction, we're going to have a jump in this diagram. So we're going to start with Ay, which is at 16.5 kilonewtons. And it's going to jump down to this point here, which is still unknown. But we can solve for that. We know that for section 1, the difference in shear is always going to equal the area of the distribution, meaning we're going to take this length times the peak of that distribution since it's rectangular. And writing that down as an integral, it looks something like this. So that is simply going to equal what number? 36 kilonewtons, because we already solved it. This is the length, this is the height of the distribution. We have 36 kilonewtons as the difference from this point. But this is going to be negative. Now, considering all of that, we have 16.5, we're subtracting the 36, leaving us with negative 19.5 kN. That's going to be right here. Now we have a jump for that By reaction. Remember, By is 28.5, so we're going to do 28.5 minus the 19.5. Just going to leave us with 9 kilonewtons, bringing us up to about that point here. So we have 9 kilonewtons right there. And we know that this is going to bring us right back down to 0 because we are subtracting that FR2 as the difference between those two shears for this segment. So 9 minus 9 is going to bring us back to 0. Okay. Now the second part is going to be for the moment. And we know that the moment's going to be right about this point. And some things that we can point out right away is that we have a Wx at this point here across this entire distribution. It's acting downwards, so it's going to be negative, and the value is constant. And remember for our moment rules that for a Wx that is negative and constant, we're going to have a slope for the shear force diagram that is negative and constant, which is exactly what is being shown for this entire length here. Now, when we jump down to the moment, we have a relationship for the shear distribution, and we can see that we have a positive value currently for this segment, but it is decreasing. So we can suggest that for the moment, or the slope of the moment diagram, we are going to have something very similar, positive and decreasing. So it's going to look something like that. And then similarly for the other side, you have negative decreasing. Therefore, this is also going to be negative and decreasing. But how do we know what this value is going to be at this point here? Well, you would assume that you can take half of this length and just times it by 16.5 and do half since it's a triangular distribution. But these two numbers are not exactly the same, so this is not going to be at exactly half of that span of that segment. But what we can do is we can relate this to similar triangles. And we know that for, let's say, this triangle here, we have 16.5 at the top right here, but we don't know that value of x. And we can consider this entire triangle as a length of 3 meters for our entire span of our segment, and take the entire difference in shear for that entire length. And we remember what that value is. It is 36, the FR1. So we're plugging that in, 36. And we are simply solving for that x value. So we're going to have x is equal to 16.5, 3 over 36, right? So that x value is going to leave us with 1.375 meters. That's going to be the distance from here to here, 1.375. Now we can start solving for the moment. I hope you can see this at the bottom here. We're going to have moment is equal to the area under that shear diagram, which is why we need to solve for that x value. We're going to have 1/2 for triangular shapes. We have 16.5 for the height of that triangle, and the length of that triangle is the value we just solved for, 1.375 meters. And then solving all that, you're left with 11.34 kilonewton meter. And then you can do the same for the other side. Since we have the positive side here, we have to also consider the negative side for when it is negative and decreasing as well. So considering that same formula, you're going to have 1/2 but now you're going to be taking a different value. You're going to be taking that negative 19.7 for that other triangular shape. And the difference in this length is going to be 3 meters, which is our segment size, subtracting 1.375 meters. And that's going to leave us with negative 15.84 kilonewton meter. Now we just need to take the difference between these two to get this point right here. Since we have this at the peak, this is going to be the difference between the two. So we have 11.34 subtracting 15.84, leaving us with negative 4.47 kilometer. Plugging that in on the diagram, we have 4.47. And we know that this is going to come right back to 0 for segment 2. So this part's not really too important, but we can see that the magnitude of this shear diagram is positive decreasing. So the slope of the moment diagram for segment 2 is going to be positive and decreasing, coming right back to 0. All right, now that we have our max moment, we can now solve for our max stress developed using this moment and using this formula. We have an absolute value, so that means we're not going to consider the sign. We have 11.34 for our moment. We're going to take that 10 to the 3 to convert it to newtons per meter. We have the C value, which is going to be at the centroid of this shape where the neutral axis is going to be acting. We're going to that furthest fiber on the tensile or compressive strand. So either the top or the bottom. And that is going to be half of that diameter. So we're going to be taking 0.09 to make sure that we are considering the meter. And we're going to be dividing it by 2. Now, all of that is going to be over the inertia value. And for a circle, we have pi over 4. And we're going to be taking the diameter over 2, which is that value we have over here. So 0.09 over 2. And we are doing that to the power of 4. And solving for that, we are going to be left with 158 times 10 to the 6 pascals, which is a convention for newtons over meters squared. In other words, this is going to be 156 megapascals. And let me just write this here just so you guys can confirm the units. M squared, m to the 4, the 2 cancels out and you're left with newtons over meter squared, which is the unit for Pascal. Okay, so that is your max shear stress or max stress in the section. And that's going to be acting right at this furthest point from the neutral axis. As you can see, the max shear stress is developing at a distance c, which is taken as half the diameter in this case since we have a circular section.